the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today's question is, can a book really transform your business? Like, is it all, can a book really, uh, you know, um, can a book really put you forward, into that stratosphere for your business? Well, our guest for today is the perfect guest to answer that question. Steve Martin, aka Stephen Hawley Martin, is a former principal at the Martin Agency. Over the years, the firm has created well-known advertising for such clients as Geico, Virginia Tourism, Mercedes-Benz, UPS Colonial, Williamsburg, and King's Dominion, among others. Today, he is the editor and publisher of the Oakley Press, a traditional book publisher. He is also the author of more than 3 dozen books, including 6 business titles under his own name and 5 novels. Listed in Who's Who in America, he is the only 3-time winner of the Writer's Digest Book Award, having won twice for fiction and once for nonfiction. Amazing. He is also he has also won first prize for visionary fiction from Independent Publisher Magazine, first prize for nonfiction from USA Book News, and a bronze medal for visionary fiction from Reader's Favorite Book Reviews. Writing is Steve's passion, and that last line right there feels like an understatement, Steve. It's just basically your entire life and your all your accolades and your achievement. But today you're going to be sharing that with us today. How are you doing? Thank you for coming on the show, Steve.
I'm doing great. I really am. And I thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Steve, the accolades and the achievements are astounding. There is no other word for it. You are quite the veteran, the titan in your field, in your industry as a writer. You've, however, come from a diverse background as well. You were a principal at the Martin Agency to now becoming an accomplished author and publisher, and of course, heading your own book company, publishing book company, the Oakley Press. Can you tell us about that journey? Can you talk about what inspired you to transition from advertising to writing and then publishing?
I'll be happy to. I was born into an advertising family. My father was an
Oh,
advertising man. He was the head of a office of a national agency. My older brother
hmm
went into the advertising business, and so it just was a natural thing for me to do. And I've always loved to write, so
hmm
writing is a big part of what you do in advertising when you're writing ads and commercials and so forth.
right,
So I went to work for an advertising agency right out of college.
right.
About 6 years later, my brother had started an ad agency, and he called me and asked me if I wanted to run the office in Washington,
All
D.C.
right.
And so that's what I took that offer. I
Okay.
accepted it. Later on, we came together in an office, and I worked with my brother David and the Martin Agency for about 25 years. But while I was at that, I started writing a novel, and I
hmm
in the mornings I would get up an hour early,
hmm
earlier than normal, and I would write for an hour and then take my shower and go to work. Well, that first book got published, and uh, I was not happy with how it was marketed. So, as a marketing professional in the advertising agency business, eventually, when I wrote another book, I decided to start my own uh, publishing business, which
Right.
I did on the side and
Okay.
conducted. I founded the Oakley Press in 1995.
Wow.
We've got well over 200 books in print now.
Wow.
And what I do, I love to write. And as you
hmm
said, I've written over 30 books. So you can
hmm
see nowadays, I'm no longer with the advertising agency. So
hmm
I'm spending my time either editing books that people send me that they want to publish, or I'm ghostwriting books for people who don't have time to write a book
Yes.
themselves, but
Hmm.
perhaps are an expert in some field.
Hmm.
And I also, in my spare time, write my own books. So
Right.
I spend most of my time writing, and it's been a great trip. I've enjoyed it. And I do, to answer the question that
Yes.
you asked even earlier about
Hmm.
can a book do something for your career or your business, it absolutely can,
That's
because
it.
what it does, it makes you the one who wrote the book
There you
about
go.
whatever it is that you
Hmm.
do and
Hmm.
whatever you're an expert in.
Hmm.
And I'll be happy to give you examples of that, but I'm sure you have other questions.
But yes, I mean that's literally quite the next question as well, is can a book catapult your business into that stratosphere? But of course, let's take it from the guy who's written 30 books. And but before that question, by the way, how did you do it, Stephen? I mean, like 30 books, running your own publishing and all that. How do you even have time to write your own books?
Well, when I'm writing a book, I that's what I do.
Right.
I you gotta stay with it. I think anybody who thinks they can write a few pages now and then wait and write a few pages a month later is going to have a hard time getting back into it, I guess, is what I
Right.
would have to say.
Hmm.
So what I do is I set aside a time to write a book, a certain
Hmm.
number of hours a day. If I
Hmm.
don't have something else going on, like a ghostwriting a book for somebody, then I'll take all 8 hours and
Oh,
sit down.
wow.
And when I'm writing, I get into the zone.
Yeah.
It's like hours pass and I don't even realize. It seems like minutes.
You talk
So
about
yeah,
it. You talk about it like you don't even encounter writer's block. That's literally the next question to for someone, a veteran like you. Do you even encounter writer's block? How do you overcome it? But also, is there a minimum number of words to it? If I want to write a book like 10,000 words a day and in those 8 hours, what number of words do you even get to in those time?
well, yeah, I would say that I often get to 10,000 words.
Mm,
You need most books, if they're a little over 200 pages, are around 60,000 words. So that's
right.
only 6 days if you're writing 10,000 words a day.
Hmm.
I understand that Stephen King, the novelist, sometimes writes
Uh-huh.
30,000 a day.
Well,
So
of course.
he's a lot faster than I
Oh,
am.
well, there. I mean, legends like that. I mean, Stephen King. Of course, no accident that you guys have the same name. Probably the same stratosphere as well. But I mean, Stephen King is also known for his kind of like excessive compulsiveness and his addiction. I think his alcoholism as well. He mentioned that he doesn't even remember some of his books. But you, Stephen, you not only dealt with fiction, but you're also into business with publishing nonfiction books as well, with which you also won awards for. And that's a perfect segue to like, what is the difference between writing nonfiction and fiction, particularly with someone with your accolades when it comes to business books, business writing nonfiction books? What would be the major differences there?
Well, I when it depends on the type of nonfiction book, uh,
Right.
but I would say that I typically, when I'm writing a novel,
Mm-hmm.
I use the hero's journey, the standard uh, thing, steps that a hero's journey follows,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever appropriate, particularly with a memoir for someone. And I've written a number of memoirs for CEOs of companies and for
Mm-hmm.
people who are have accomplished something spectacular, or they're a politician or whatever that has gone down a certain path. I try to fit their story into that hero's journey, where
Mm-hmm.
you start out. It's like if anybody's ever seen The Wizard of Oz,
Yep.
you know,
Yellow
Dorothy
Brick
starts
Road.
out in Kansas. That's her normal,
Hmm.
her ordinary world, I guess you would call it.
Yep.
And then she has some sort of call to adventure and that's when Toto runs away.
Toto. Uh-huh.
The
Uh-huh.
witch captures him and he jumps out, and so she has to do something. So that's the call to adventure, and then she she goes off. She meets the mentor, who is the guy with the wagon, the snake oil
Yeah, yeah,
salesman.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And then
Mhm.
she's thrust into the adventure when the tornado comes and she lands in Oz,
Right.
and she meets Fred. I mean, there's certain steps,
A
and
lot of steps.
if you look at the best fiction, uh, I would say 90% of it follows that pretty closely. Maybe not
Right.
always in the same sequence,
Okay.
but you can
Okay.
use those kinds of things in writing fiction to keep
Hmm.
your reader reading the book, turning
Okay.
the
Okay.
page, and
Hmm.
that's what you want to have happen, of course.
Okay.
And
Okay.
as far as uh,
Nonfiction.
I started ghostwriting.
Oh.
I ghost wrote my first book
Okay.
for a president of a company, a CEO of a company, back in 1999,
Okay.
and he had taken over this company that was failing, and it
Hmm.
was a
Hmm.
manufacturing business, and he wanted to get the word out that he was doing these things that were going to change the manufacturing process to make the products that they were producing
Right.
better.
Okay. Okay.
And so at that time in 1999, the Toyota production system was really coming on fast as Toyota
Yep.
cars are, they
The
last forever.
Kaizen. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Kaizen, exactly.
Kaizen, continuous improvement and all that, and it was booming during that time. How did you guys come into that picture?
Well, this this CEO had worked
Hmm.
for a company that supplied uh, Toyota
Right.
with parts,
Right.
and they had to use the Toyota production system, and the Toyota insisted on that.
Okay. Okay.
So he knew that system. He also had a consultant that had worked for a different automotive company that was supplying
Okay. Okay.
Toyota, who knew that system. And between the two of them, I sat down with them and recorded what we talked about, but they talked
Hmm.
about all of
Hmm.
this. And
Right.
I put it
Right.
all together into a book, which was called Lean Transformation. And it's was very successful. It was translated into German, uh, Italian, Spanish, Chinese,
Right.
and probably Korean,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
was sold worldwide. But what that did was not only help turn that company around and get the word out
Right.
that their products that they were producing now were using the Toyota system, and they
Okay.
had
Okay.
very few flaws, but also for the president of the company whose name was on the book. And he got job offers,
Okay.
bigger companies, and he went on to do that. So
Okay.
that's a classic example of how a book not only helped turn a
Wow.
company around, but helped that gentleman become even more successful, because he was a very talented guy and he knew what he was doing. So
Right.
all I did was, I'm a wordsmith. They knew what they were talking about, and all I did was put it down on paper and put it into a book.
That's it. That's it. I mean, you were the man with the words, and they had the ideas, and you just put it together. But the impact is almost invaluable. You cannot put a price on it, really, when it comes to establishing yourself as the expert, because having a book to your name is already like, whoa, okay. It means you are the person to listen to. You are expert in that field, especially if it's particularly about your business as well. So it's almost self-explanatory how impactful it can be to business. um and it's very interesting as well, the story that you said. It kind of like it was a multiplier for his business. You mentioned also the process between, the creative process between writing fiction and writing a business book. Of course, you're with writing fiction, you follow this typical hero's journey pattern, where it's much easier to put, not really much easier, but it's more common way to hook your readers in. What would be the challenge of writing a nonfiction business book? Of course, you're not going to be following a hero's journey for a nonfiction book. Or have you encountered formats like that? And have there been unique nonfiction business books that are unique formats that you feel could both be applied to a fiction book as well?
Well, one book I published a while back was a novel
Okay.
that took the main character had a problem he needed to solve,
Okay.
which was the problem that this company, the president of a company, actually he was a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
He was a consultant on product development and
Okay.
how to streamline the product development process.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had the character in his book, which was fiction,
Mm-hmm.
had the kind of problem that he could solve.
Right.
And
Okay.
so it was the hero's journey, but it put forth the techniques and the sorts of things that this consultant could bring to the table to
Okay.
his clients, but
Interesting.
it did it in fiction form. And
Oh.
that book did,
Oh.
did very well as well. And
Wow.
he got a lot of business from it all over the world. That book was also translated into a number of different languages like German and
Absolutely, I absolutely love that concept because it had something. It's personal for me. It's a personal question, really, because it's something a concept I've always had. Can you release a fiction book that is related to your business, and have this experience the same success? Steven, you cannot not leave us hanging like that. What is the title of this book? We need to check it out.
it's called Product Development for the Lean Enterprise.
The okay, that for the lean enterprise. Okay, we are
Product
going.
Development for the Lean Enterprise. And
What's
it's
it?
still available. You can go to Amazon, put that into the search, and it'll pop right up.
All right, fantastic. That title doesn't sound like fiction though, but you said it's written like
It
fiction.
doesn't, but we needed to get it in the hands of people that were the target audience.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
yeah, but
That's
when
so
you read it, you find that it's written in the first person, but it's fiction. It's fiction.
that's very interesting. Do you think that's part of why it was so successful?
I think it was two reasons. I think the book was written in a way that it was interesting to read,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but it also solved a problem that people have. And that book came along after Lean Enterprise, how to
Right.
change business into a lean enterprise. Like Lean
Okay.
Transformation, how to change your business into a lean enterprise was the
Right.
first book. This was by a whole different guy, but he had been studying how Toyota went about developing products, which
Mm,
was also a streamlined process that got rid
very,
of a lot of waste.
very
And that's
interesting.
really what lean enterprise is getting rid of waste and focusing on what's important and really making that great. And
Wow.
that's what this lean enterprise, this product development process did. And the way he described it through the fiction character was compelling, and
Wow.
people got the message.
Wow. Uh, which one do you prefer, Steven? Do you
Oh
prefer
well,
fiction, nonfiction?
I I love fiction,
I
but
love fiction. I
it's
love
often
fiction.
hard to put a business
Mhm.
book into that kind of a format. It certainly worked
Right.
that time, and I'm
Hmm.
sure that it could work in other cases too. But
Hmm.
typically, uh, you there, as I said earlier, I believe the certain techniques can be from fiction can be used in nonfiction, where you set up the book with the problem that needs to be solved
Okay.
and why that's a problem,
Hmm.
and go from there.
Hmm.
It's important to keep people turning pages. I've written 6 business books just under my own name,
Hmm.
and you can go to my website shmartin.com and see the
Of
books that
course.
I've written. But I think they're pretty compelling.
Okay.
If somebody's got a problem or something they want to learn about, if you put it in a way that's clear and flows and keeps them, dangling the carrot in front of them as you go along, they'll keep turning pages and read.
I mean, that's quite underselling it, Stephen. By the way, first prize for nonfiction book from USA Book News. I mean, it's not just compelling; it is award winning. The business books that you have written. It's there's you're a three-time winner of the Writers Digest Book Award. You've won numerous accolades. How do you feel these accomplishments or just achievements impacted your career? And what did this recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, I think the accolades really encouraged me to
Mhm.
continue on. I
Wow.
could have stayed in advertising, and I love
Mhm.
that. I love creating anything, whether it's
Mhm.
a book or an ad or a commercial. But it encouraged me to concentrate on the writing and publishing business, and obviously having those honors, those accolades, helps attract clients to me.
Of
To
course. Yeah.
I want to either uh, publish their book or edit the book or ghostwrite the book. I do charge for ghostwriting and editing. I don't charge for publishing if the book's ready to go and I
Hmm.
think it has an audience.
Hmm.
I will publish it and promote it and so forth. But I do charge for my time when I have to edit or ghostwrite. So it's why probably I'm still doing
There you
this.
go. There you go. But also, it's quite the validation of all the hard work. And of course, you mentioned about charging for your time, and I bet every penny is worth it, especially with what you have done in the industry. Stephen, writing is your passion. There is no doubt about that. In fact, I think it is. I said earlier that it's an understatement. It feels like it's so much bigger, larger than life, and what you have done with writing, and you've made a significant impact through your work. Um, this is more of a personal anecdote in that. Do you have any personal experiences that have influenced your writing, and why do you think writing has become such a big passion for you? And it's so much so that you help people with publishing their books.
Well, I just enjoy learning. And
Mm,
I enjoy writing. I've told you about how I get in the zone when I'm doing it. But when I'm writing for someone else, right now I'm ghostwriting a book for a gentleman who invented a way for a device and a
mhm.
process for people who are addicted to fentanyl or opioids.
Oh,
And
wow.
this device that he has is in front of the FDA right now, awaiting approval.
Wow.
And I'm writing a book about how he came up with that. And his story is absolutely fantastic. I mean,
Wow.
I'm learning so much,
Hmm.
and it's a pleasure to write his story because he did take the classic hero's adventure.
Wow.
He had a huge operation for cancer, had
Wow.
uh, a tumor removed,
Okay.
and because of the pain from following that, he was put on opioids. On started with morphine,
That's
ended
it.
up with fentanyl, and he became
Addicted.
totally addicted to it.
Oh my goodness.
And he realized after doing some research that that was eventually going to kill him
Wow.
because you can't stay addicted for but so long because it affects your brain.
Absolutely.
Anyway, he there was no easy way to get out. But
Mm,
he found a way
fantastic.
to uh, created a device that he was using the fentanyl patch
Hmm.
could reduce the dosage gradually over time.
Wow.
It took him 14 months,
Wow.
but he was able to uh, become completely free of addiction over 14 months using his device. He's now got a patent on it, and he is got it in front of the FDA. Well, I'm at the point now where I've got the first draft of the book done, and it'll probably be published sometime in the next month or two. But it's been just a fantastic journey. I've been working with him for 3 months, and we've come up with this product that I think is going to get the word out about his
Wow.
pension, and he'll make a lot of money. But the big thing is that so many people will be saved from it.
Exactly. It'll save a lot of lives, and it almost feels like, it's these this is kind of work that feels meaningful. I mean, after all these years, after all the time, the awards that you've gotten, it's almost like you're always fine. There's always a story to write. There's always a story to uncover, to write about, to learn about, and that must feel meaningful over all the accolades as well, because it's fulfilling to continue this career with your passion and continuously helping everyone through your publishing as well.
That's right. Everybody has a story.
Mhm.
Everybody has life. Life is a story. Life is a
Right.
hero's
It is.
adventure.
It is.
And so, I just enjoy what I do, and that's wonderful when you can do what you enjoy and look forward to Monday mornings.
Yes, that's it. And getting on that, just getting into that zone, and Steven working out his hero's journey. Of course, someday perhaps Steven might write your own hero's journey as well. We are going to be definitely first in line to buy that copy. Steven, it's been fantastic. I love the insight. I love the perspective. The one particular question there was answered for me, like releasing a fiction book for a business. I love that. I love that concept. I can't get enough of it. Thank you for providing your insights and your wisdom today, Stephen. I'd love to give you this opportunity. Where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? Where can we learn more about Stephen's publishing career and more than that?
Well, I have a website that
Mhm.
tells you a whole lot more, and also the books I've written. It's shmartin,
Mhm.
shmartin.com. And my business website, my publishing business is Oakley Press. O is spelled a little different. OAKLEA, then PRESS, all run together.
All
OAKLERESS.
right.
So I hope people will visit both of those websites. You can get in touch with me by using the contact form. I'll answer it usually within 24 hours.
All
I'd
right.
love to hear from everybody.
All right, fantastic. Of course, all our audience and listeners out there, if you picked up some of the book titles throughout the show, definitely check those out. Check out Stephen Martin himself. Check out his books and check out his website, Oakley Press, as well. Stephen, it's been great. I absolutely love you as a guest. One last bit of wisdom to leave to the audience. What's it gonna be? Take us home.
Well, uh, just think about your story. Think about whether or not you can uh, tell it in the form of that hero's adventure. And if you need help doing it, get in touch with me. I'll help you.
That's it. That's it. What a way to close this episode. Of course, reach out to the man himself. You're not sure what to do. You got a story. Well, Steven's got the words. Steven, thank you for coming on to the show today.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. And to all our audience and listeners out there, I hope you enjoyed this too. And we will see you on the next one. Bye bye.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.